Pregame.com.
BYU plus 13 at TCU, Friday night football. Let's talk parlays. I know you didn't know I was going to start with that, but here's the thing. Parlays have slightly more juice in them than if you just lay 11 to 10. So people who are half sharp will say, well, parlays are always bad. But when they're good is if they're correlated. Now, we've talked in the forums and stuff about different ways that parlays can be correlated, but parlays within a game can be correlated. So let's look at this TCU BYU. BYU's been running the heck out of the ball, 224 yards per game the last 5 games. They've been stopping the run. If this game was a close game, grind it out, clearly you're going to, or maybe not if it's a close game, because clearly you're going to like the double-digit dog if it's a close game. But if it's a conservative game, if it's even tight for the first half or so, clearly there's a ton of value in the dog. Now, on the other hand, if TCU gets up 17-3, it could end up being BYU has to throw, and it could be a 30-point game. My point here is I lean a little bit towards the dog, as I typically do, and I'm thinking this is a parlay. It's a small bet, perhaps a recreational bet, in which I'm going to go BYU and under, saying if the game goes the way I think, there's a correlation between those two results. And if the game gets out of hand, well, it doesn't matter if you lose both the side and the total when you parlay. What do you think about that approach?
Well, I mean, it makes sense, and definitely with BYU, that would be the side you would be looking to, would be to the under. And one thing to support the underside of that bet, TCU, I mean, just as a layman, you know, the public is going to look and say, well, okay, last week BYU won 56-3, and TCU rolled New Mexico 69-0. Wow, both teams score a ton of points. This is going to be a shootout on TV. The fact of the matter is TCU has not faced a good defense all year. Top to bottom, they have not faced a good defense, and BYU has held 4 of their last 5 opponents to under 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, and in a close game, ability to stop the run, ability to run are 2 keys. Seems like we got them both with BYU. It's interesting because we always talk about in these midweek games the scheduling factor, the road team, days of rest. Both teams played last Saturday, but they were both favored by over 40 points.
Right.
So you had a situation where, yeah, they played the game, but I would be very confident that both teams were taking some of their preparation time getting ready for this game, which let's call it half a bye almost. So I also think, here's the thing though, I don't think this is, oh my God, great value on BYU. I think there's some value. One of the reasons is I think there's a Rose Bowl premium on TCU right now. Fact is, I would guess, I mean, heck, half of the bettors on Friday probably haven't really engaged with this TCU team since the Rose Bowl. How many of them do you think have watched? I mean, I bet less than 20% have watched TCU play this year.
Other than the first game of the season, they were on a Thursday night game against Baylor, that shootout game. So, and they lost that game. So it lost their luster. You know, they had the big comeback. But since then, the team's flown under the radar because they're not in the national spotlight and they have been winning. But again, they haven't been playing anybody.
Clearly you're right that they were on Thursday Night Football. My question is if you really ask people, and maybe because it was such a shootout, people remember the game. I just think that the prominence of that Rose Bowl win is in big red bold letters in people's minds compared to anything else TCU's done. I think it's put a little premium on them, and to me that makes me lean the other way. And additionally, another thing that causes me to think that there's limited value on BYU is TCU's a really good home team, and they've actually covered 26 of 38, so 26-12 ATS at home. So what I'm going to do personally is if I end up watching the game, is I'm going to parlay BYU and the under for a recreational bet, but I don't have a super strong opinion. I'm going to project it TCU 31, BYU 21. Any closing thoughts?
No, I can't say I disagree with you. It's going to be, it should be an entertaining ball game with these two for a Friday night.
All right, guys. Now, one of the things we're doing now, and we're really making the effort, is we're taking all of our videos each week and putting them in the forums. There's one thread with all the videos, and all the participants are answering any questions you may have. They're putting their show notes in, the whole thing. So go to pregamevideos.com, and you'll go straight to that thread, and you can ask any questions you want, and we'll talk to you there.